guys, it's Joanie from simplelivingmama.com here with you today, and I wanted to talk about something that I am pretty passionate about, and that is living books for the preschool and the kindergarten age. A lot of times I'm asked, what books do you recommend for my preschooler? What books do you recommend for my kindergartner? And I wanted to talk a little bit about the topic of living books and then show you guys some of our favorite living books. Now, if you know anything about a Charlotte Mason education, then you have probably heard the term living book. So what is a living book? To put it in basic terms, a living book is a book that brings a particular concept to life. A lot of times we can look at really great historical fiction books and find them as living books, something like Little House on the Prairie. Those types of books really immerse you in that time period, make you feel like you are part of that time period, and you're able to learn what life was like then from the story. Whereas if you were just reading in a textbook or an encyclopedia or something like that, you're not going to make those same types of connections. So living books are written in a way that allow the reader to connect with the main characters, to connect with the time period, to connect with the concepts that are being discussed in the books. So, you know, many of your classics would be considered living books. Now, when we're talking about living books for young children, you know, in that 3 to 5 year age range, I think one thing that's important to understand is Charlotte Mason really was not a huge advocate for reading for young children that age, to be reading and to be read to all the time. She was more focused on making sure that the children were spending lots of time outdoors and, you know, learning a lot about their own environments, habit training, all of that stuff. So that's one thing to keep in mind. Of course, she didn't say don't read to your children. And for me, I love reading to my kids from the time that they're born. I even started reading when I was pregnant. And that's because the stories, I feel, provide connection for the parent and the child. And even to this day, I can remember being read to, my mother reading to me when I was a little girl. And those are really great memories. And I want the same for my kids. So we do read a lot of books. I love children's literature. I love children's picture books, and we have a lot in our house. And there are a lot of great life lessons that can be learned from children's books. So I'm going to show you guys some of our favorites, talk a little bit about what I like about them so much, and then also talk a little bit about what I do personally. That's, you know, not necessarily based on the Charlotte Mason method, but it's just based on what I do in my homeschool with my preschoolers and my kindergartners. So I'll go ahead and get started. I don't have, this is not going to be an extensive list. I don't have all of the great books here with me, but I do have quite a few. So I'm going to start off with The Little Engine That Could by Watty Piper. And this is just a wonderful classic book all about perseverance. The next book that we absolutely love is Corduroy. We've read this one a few times, and it's just a good classic book. You really feel for the main character. All he wants is a home. He's trying to find a button so he can look nice and presentable, so he can have a home. Let's see. Our books are well loved, a lot of them, so you will see that. This is The Little House. This is a gorgeous book by Virginia Lee Burton. And it allows children and adults to connect to this house and this house's story and all of the changes that this house goes through and everything that this house sees. And it's just a sweet story. Really great. Then all the Frog and Toad readers. These are great books for children just learning to read. They're funny stories. We really get to know Frog and Toad. So this is another one that I do recommend as well. Also, Mike Mulligan and his Steam Shovel. A great book all about perseverance. And I think it has a lot of great lessons, you know, even for our younger children, 3, 4, 5 years old. The Story of Babar. I can remember watching Babar when I was a little girl on TV, and just reading those same stories that I learned about through television to my children is a lot of fun. So this is another great one. And then of course we have the Billy and Blaze series, A Boy and His Horse. Another really great series, also great for early readers. So once your kids get to that 6, 7, 8 year age range, they can start reading these books too. Now, this is my boy's favorite story. Folk tales, fairy tales, those are all wonderful stories to incorporate in your homeschool for your young learners. And this is something that I wish I had been better about with my older kids. But this is the Three Billy Goats Gruff. We have lots of other folk tales, the Little Red Hen, Goldilocks and the Three Bears. These are just amazing because the kids love them, they connect to them. Once you read the story a few times, they can read it to you without really even knowing how to read. They can just look at the pictures and retell the story. They're the kind of things that you remember forever, you know. So definitely pick up some folk tales for your preschoolers and kindergartners. Okay, I have my one big book. I have tons of Beatrix Potter books. My favorite ones, I have a set that my grandmother gave me of like little hand-sized books of all of Beatrix Potter's tales. And those are wonderful because they're just the right size for little hands, and they're all of our favorite stories. So we all know Beatrix Potter has gorgeous illustrations. The vocabulary in these stories is way advanced beyond what a lot of preschool books would be that you would find on the market. And your kids can understand this stuff, you know. Don't shy away from it because you think it might be a little bit too advanced or something. Definitely have Beatrix Potter stories in your homeschool library for your little children. Paddington Bear is another one of our favorites. He's just so cute, and we like seeing what kind of adventures he gets himself into. Another series, I have a big book here full of different stories, is the Big Book of Berenstain Bears. So the reason that I like these stories so much is because there's always a teachable moment in each of the stories. They're great for character training, and you know, they really help little kids think about some things like not telling the truth, or you know, fighting with your brother or sister or something like that. That's why I really love these books, and we have way more than this also. So Berenstain Bears. Here's a super cute living book called The Little Island. It's kind of along the same lines as The Little House. You're gonna see how this island changes as the seasons come and go, and how the storms change it and everything else. And it's such a cute little tale. So that's a fun one. Another one that the kids really enjoy, because once they've heard it a few times, they can say it themselves, is If You Give a Mouse a Cookie. So that's another one of our favorites. It also has really cute illustrations. Another one that my first taste of these stories came from television when I was a child, but it's Little Bear, and we love Little Bear, and I just have so many great memories of this show. My youngest brother loved Little Bear, and I really enjoyed the little stories as well, and now my children read them to me because these make great early readers also. So this is something else that we enjoy reading together, all of the cute little stories from Little Bear. Now, my oldest son's favorite series when he was a preschooler and kindergartner, and I'm so sad that he's too old for this stuff now, but it's Curious George. I can't think of preschool books without thinking of Curious George, and we have many, many, many Curious George books. He loved for me to read these Curious George books to him over and over again. He loved to watch the show. We can always have fun figuring out what this curious little monkey was going to get himself into and how he was going to get himself out of his messes. And these are just wonderful books. And if you have a Curious George lover, then you will find that Curious George will always have a special place in your heart. Okay, and another one that I have here, I brought several over. Of course, I didn't bring them all, but I brought a lot. Is Miss Rumphius, and we love this one. I like to read this one to the kids in the springtime, and then we'll go and plant flowers. Just learning how we can make the world a little bit more of a beautiful place. So this is another great living book that can inspire your young children. And then the last book I have here, I actually use this one for morning time, is the Children's Book of Virtues. And it has several different stories, poems, prayers, different things in it. So it even has a little red hen story in it. Isn't that cute? So this is just a good book that is a collection of different stories that are wonderful for young children, full of those great living stories that inspire us and encourage us, even as young children. Look, kindness to animals, and the illustrations are just beautiful as well. Sermon to the birds, someone sees you. These are the kinds of stories that you want to read to your kids. God, make my life a little light. So that is all that I brought over here to share with you guys. I love books. I love literature. I love children's literature. I love sharing a wonderful story with a child and seeing it inspire and encourage. And that's what living books are to me. And I definitely think that we can read to our preschoolers and have a lot of fun with it. I don't do a lot of really heavy lesson planning in the preschool years, but we do some things. So I would love to take a favorite story, maybe a Curious George story, and turn it into some fun activities like a sensory bin, because my kids enjoy sensory bins, so that's fine. Trying to do an art project, even though I can look at Pinterest and get an idea. You know, my kid's actual art project, my 4-year-old actual art project, is not going to look like the mom-made Pinterest art project that's there, but it's still fun, and it helps them learn how to follow directions, and they can do it themselves, use their creativity if they would like. My kids do a ton of free drawing, and they will draw from their favorite stories. They will make up all kinds of stories and stuff like that. So I actually do have a few fun preschool and kindergarten book-based lesson plans on my blog that I sell. One that goes along with If You Give a Mouse a Cookie and the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. Those are for your young children, and they have lots of fun printables and ideas that you can use for a fun week in your homeschool. Like I said, I don't necessarily do those kinds of things every single week. I am a mom of 6, so I have older children as well. And I find that my preschoolers don't necessarily need to do all of that every single week. But when we do it, it is a lot of fun and they enjoy it. They really, I think their favorite lesson plan that we did was the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. My personal favorite that we did was Goldilocks and the 3 Bears, because I really liked those art lessons and everything. But my kids loved retelling the 3 Billy Goats Gruff. That is just my 4-year-old and even my 6-year-old. That is their favorite story still. It's been like that for over a year now. So yeah, if you want to check those out, I will leave the links down in the comments below or in the description box below. And I hope that you have a wonderful day. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. We post about homeschooling and homemaking and easy recipes to help moms simplify life, home, and homeschool. I will talk to you later. Bye.